I understand why Israel would do this. Why would the US be involved? The US loses a lot. Qatar is an ally. The Arab world is all condemning this attack.
Qatar's not an ally.
Qatar, Jordan, Saudi, UAE.
With all due respect, Qatar is not an ally because America doesn't have allies. Qatar is a subject nation. Qatar understands that if they piss off the United States, excuse my language, we terminate their existence. I mean, this is the reality of how the entire Middle East relates to us. That anybody who's our ally isn't our ally because we will betray them, and we have betrayed them. But they don't have the ability to walk away from this. They are so deeply embedded in the United States, financially, security-wise. Qatar is not an ally, because an ally, we wouldn't do this to an ally. Just like Germany isn't an ally, because allies don't blow up pipelines of their strategic partners. The United States is an ally to nobody, and this should be the lesson the world needs to gather from this. When you deal with the United States only uses you as a tool. We're not the friend of anybody. Even Israel. Israel found that out the hard way in the negotiations with the Houthi, when the United States just unilaterally said, we're done. We agreed not to bomb you. You agreed not to sink our ships, and we're walking away. And we left Israel hanging because we don't have allies. We don't have friends. We have entities that we use for our objectives. And this should be the ultimate lesson to everybody, especially Qatar. They think they bought Trump's loyalty by giving him a Boeing 747 and treating him like royalty. Look how he treated that. No, this is humiliating as an American, because as an American, I'd like to believe that we have the ability to be friends and allies with people, but not now. Nobody can trust us. We simply cannot be trusted anymore.
AirPods Pro.
Hey, Shalom, all praises to Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushai, Ba'ashem Gakadash, double honors to the elders and the apostles, the great millstone, who will teach well, who taught us this truth. This is Brother Yashar from GMS Atlantic Camp, and as we just saw in this video, man, again, more and more closer until the end. Here we have, forget that man's name. Let me see if it goes back here. Yes, Scott Ritter. He used to be a UN weapons bomb inspector. He was actually on the ground in I think it was the early thousands, when they went and invaded Iraq under the pretext of WMDs. Well, he was one of the inspectors that went to Iraq and inspected their sites, and he himself wrote a report that they in fact did not have WMDs. And ever since then, he's been an outspoken critic against America, man. More and more truth is consistently coming out, and as the devil, Esau Edom, sees his grip of power slipping from his hands, we see him beginning to pass these draconian laws, right? We see him trying to make one last attempt at, for example, taking over TikTok to stop this information, man. But no matter what this devil does, matter of fact, let's get that scripture, and we'll let my word shall not return void, because it doesn't matter what this devil tries to do, man. At the end, matter of fact, let's get that one. Let's get the Wateri. The Wateri, there you go, right there. The Wateri, wait for it. It doesn't matter what this devil tries to do, whether he tries to buy TikTok or whether he tries to censor. Everything plays directly into what Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai has planned. Habakkuk 2 and 3, for the vision is yet for an appointed time, but at the end it shall speak and not lie. And what is that vision? The vision are these prophecies. And what does prophecy say? That the man of sin would be shown unto the world, right? And that America would begin to be visited by plagues. 2nd Ezra 15 goes into that, says that the Most High will begin to send plagues upon Egypt, and that's talking about spiritual Egypt. All right, it says, and it shall speak and not lie, though it tarry, wait for it, because it will surely come, it will not tarry. And one of those visions is, again, showing who this man of sin is. And the fact that people are able to see who he is now, it shows us just how closer we are unto the end. Because You know, for the longest time, we didn't know who Esau Edom was. But what does Daniel 12 verse 4 say? It says, but thou, O Daniel, shut up thy words. And these words were shut up. You know, again, we didn't know who we were. We didn't know who Esau Edom was. We didn't know who the 12 tribes were. We weren't calling upon Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai. You know, we thought we were just bywords. You know, we thought we were just, so-called blacks. But now, this was an end time prophecy. It says, and seal the book, even to the time of the end. Many shall run to and fro, and knowledge shall be increased. And when you get that word knowledge in the Hebrew, that word is it's diath, and that word means perception, discernment, understanding, and wisdom. And we have seen the discernment of who Esau Edom is. We have seen the discernment, right? Because the scripture says that you shall know a tree by its fruits. We have seen the fruits that Esau Edom has brought forth, and knowledge is increasing. More and more people are starting to wake up to the fact that so-called blacks, natives, and Hispanics are the Hebrew Israelites mentioned in the Bible, man. Psalm 64 verse 8 goes into it. It says, so they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. And that's perfect example of what we see here with Scott. He himself said, he said, we cannot be trusted. When that guy was trying to speak about the allies that America has, America doesn't have an ally. America is the sword sent for judgment, first and foremost to the Hebrew Israelites, but also unto the world. Matter of fact, let's get that. The hammer of the earth broken. KJV, Jeremiah 50 verse 23 says, how is the hammer of the whole earth cut asunder and broken? How is Babylon become a desolation among the nations? And that's exactly what Babylon, America, has been. It's been a hammer. It's been a tool to bring destruction, man. And you know what? Yahweh Bahasham, Yahweh Shai, as wicked as this bastard is, man, all things that were created by the Most High were made in pairs, man. The book of, I think chapter 9 of the book of Romans goes into it. One vessel made for glory and one vessel made for dishonor, man. As much as we don't like going through it, man, this is something that that we had to go through, man. Right? The scripture says that that the Most High would try His people through the fire, man. And one thing about trying gold in fire, it's gold gets beat up, it gets shifted, right? It gets shaped. Matter of fact, let's see if we can do that right quick. Let's see if we can just do a quick search here. We'll do purifying gold. Let's see what this goes into. Turn unused jewelry right here. Refining and pouring gold. Let's see what this does.
This concoction might be a bit more valuable than you'd first imagine. After selectively dropping the main element out of solution, rinsing it, drying it, I'm left with this amazing powder. Watch what happens.
There's a bit of a It's at 48% gold, and then like 52%, ugly, man. And that's how, that's Israel, man. Because does not the scripture say that I shall sift Israel? That sifting goes into trying. I mean, that's the same word that Yahweh Shai used when he was speaking with Peter. He said, the devil has asked to sift you, if I'm not mistaken, to try, man. All this punishment that we have been going through, and Jacob's trouble, which is to come, this is all a purification process, man. The Most High put this bastard in control so that He can purify His elect, man. Because you have to keep in mind, although we understand who we are, man, we're not 100%. Like we're not pure yet, man. Yes, we have the truth, right? We know who we are, but the Most High knows His creation, man. Right? The scriptures goes into it, says that the Most High will not put more upon your frame than what we could handle. So there's still a purification process for us. $11,000. 48% gold turned into $11,000, man, and that's through the Spirit, man. That's those new bodies that Yahweh Bashem Yahushua has in store for us, man. All right, it says, so they shall, let's go back to Psalm 64, it says, so they shall make their own tongue to fall upon themselves. All that see them shall flee away, right? And everyone's fleeing from Esau Edom, man. A lot of these people, these nations want nothing to do with who this bastard is, man. And we can go ahead and grab a quick precept here. This is Jeremiah 51:7. It says, Babylon has been a golden cup in Yahweh, Bashem Yahushua's hand, that made all the earth drunken. The nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad. And what did Scott say in that video? I keep forgetting his last name. That's why I'm calling him Scott. But he said America has no allies. He said I forgot what country he said, but that country is a subject state. These people are only doing the will of what Esau Edom tells them to do. Why? Because they understand who has the power, man. They understand, just like he said, if they don't do it, America has the power to shut down an entire continent. I mean, think about that, man. Like these. I remembered during that Bud Light fiasco, right, when they put that transmission as the spokesperson, and Bud Light sales went down. Like all of America was proud because, yeah, we can do that. We taught them we showed them, right? Well, America has the ability to do that to an entire continent, man. You're talking about not a multi-billion-dollar company, man. You're talking about multiple multi-billion-dollar companies, trillion-dollar continents, man. And again, through their own tongues falling upon themselves, man, we can point to who the wicked is, man. Job 9:24 says that the earth is given into the hands of the wicked, man. See, Yahweh Hashem, Yahushua gave us these scriptures, and he gave us the prophecies, and he's allowing these prophecies to come true right in front of our eyes. We, for the longest time, we didn't have these videos available for us. I mean, 10 years ago, man, we would have never had the ability to see, short clips like that, man. But that's because everything was for an appointed time, as the scriptures say. It says, and all men shall fear and shall declare the work of the Most High. And that's what we're doing here. The fact that, we can see their tongues falling upon themselves. The fact that, that Yahweh Bahashem, Yahushua gave us these prophecies, and we've been able to see these things come to pass. We are fearing the Most High, man. And that word fear goes into a respect, but also like a trembling fear, man. Because see, these Christians, they don't fear the Most High. They just love the Most High, but they don't fear. No, they love the false idea of who they think the Most High is, man. They don't fear Him. We do. We declare the work of the Most High, man. That's what we're doing now. We're declaring what He's done in the past, and we're prophesying. Say before. We are saying before. We are saying what's going to happen before it happens. That's what the word prophesy means, man. We're telling you the MOTB is coming. Jacob's trouble's coming. The famine of the word is coming. Babylon is going to fall, man. We're telling you this, man. Through the Spirit of Yahweh Bashem, Yahushua, man. It says, for they shall wisely consider of His doing. The righteous shall be glad in Yahweh Bashem, Yahushua, and shall trust in Him. And that's what we, that's where we are at right now, man. As we see this place, continue to fall, we're not by any means, we are not calling to go out and do acts of violence against people. No, because we understand what the scriptures say, man. Just as we understand the prophecies that are to come. We understand that the scriptures say that no man shall buy you. Matter of fact, we'll get Romans 13 to back up that point. And it says, let every soul, this is 13 verse 1, it says, let every soul be subject unto the higher powers, for there is no power but of the Most High. The powers that be are ordained of the Most High, man. So we know that, the BLM's not going to save us. We know that, I mean, we damn sure know that Charlie Brown was never going to save us, right? Our hope is not in man. Our hope is in our power, man, and that's Yahweh Shai. Says, we're not called to go against what the Most High has ordained. He ordained this bastard. Verse 2, whosoever therefore resisteth the power, resisteth the ordinance of the Most High, and they that resist shall receive to themselves damnation. Because we understand that we are in a spiritual timeout, just like when, as a kid, you would get put on timeout or you get in trouble. You can't put yourself out of timeout. The father, or what in this case, the father, right, or the parent would come in and tell you, okay, now you can come out, and that's what we're waiting upon, man. So we're not called to fight back. No, we're called to pray, man. We're called to pray, man. So as these nations begin to wake up, and division is being cast amongst the whore and the 10 horns, which we know the 10 horns are NATO, right, and the EU, right? So let's see here. France recognizes, yeah, right here. I want to pull this article here because now we see the what's the word that I'm looking for? Now we see the a break within the relationship of those 10 norms. France recognizes Palestinian statehood at UN meeting to revive peace efforts. All right, and France wasn't the only one. It was France. Who else was it? It says the UK, Canada, and Australia joined the vast majority of the world's nation in recognizing Palestine as a state, which is a break from what America has done. America has not, America, which we know as Babylon, they don't recognize Palestine as a state. And these are part of the 10 horns, man. And so we see that break coming away, man, because these, these nations are, are upset that they have drank from the wine. It says the nations have drunken of her wine, therefore the nations are mad, because how did these countries become subject? They became subject by Esau Edom going over there, presenting himself as an angel of light, right? But speaking as a dragon, man. And these nations are beginning to wake up. And that's another prophecy that the scriptures say is going to come to pass. It says, and the 10 horns which thou sawest upon the beast, these shall hate the whore. And we know that whore is Babylon. It says, and shall make her desolate and naked, and shall eat her flesh and burn her with fire. And that's going into, the allies that America has turning against America and shooting their arrows, man. These nations are beginning to be fed up, man. So, just want to put this video together just to, show us that we really are at the end, man. Their tongues are falling upon themselves. Esau Edom is being shown for who he is, and these nations are drunk, man. So let's continue to stay in, and until the next one, shalom.